Today, we're exploring one of the world's most breathtaking sites, Mont-Saint-Michel. It's this incredible island in Normandy, France, with a wild 1,300-year history of transformation, faith, and survival against, well, pretty much everything.
I mean, just look at it. This single silhouette has been so many things. It started as a sacred pilgrimage site, then it became an unconquerable fortress, then a really grim prison, and now, finally, a restored national treasure. But its whole story, really, is defined by one constant battle: its relationship with the sea.
And this is the magic of Mont-Saint-Michel. For part of the day, it's connected to the mainland by these huge exposed sand flats. But then, for the other half, the tide rushes in, and just like that, it's a true island, completely cut off by water.
That's about 46 feet. That is the staggering difference between high and low tide. It's actually one of the most extreme tidal ranges in all of Europe, a natural defense that has shaped its destiny for centuries.
Okay, so let's dive into this. We're going to go back to the very beginning to see how this incredible place was born, not from some architect's plan, but from what the legends call a divine command.
So before it was Mont-Saint-Michel, this rocky outcrop was just known as Mont-Thome. The story that changed everything says that way back in 708, the archangel Michael appeared to a local bishop and told him, "Build a sanctuary right here." And that powerful vision is where the entire history of this place begins.
And so, from that vision, a small church was built right on top of the rock, establishing the mount as a sacred place of worship.
But that was just the start. As its fame grew, Norman dukes poured money into a spectacular expansion. Now think about the sheer audacity of this. In the 11th century, architects decided to build a massive abbey not just on the rock, but at its absolute peak. To support all that weight, they had to engineer a whole complex of crypts and chapels inside the granite, basically creating a man-made foundation for the church above. It's just a staggering feat of medieval engineering.
Over the next few centuries, especially during the Hundred Years' War, layers of fortifications were added. Towers, ramparts, courtyards. They slowly transformed this spiritual center into an absolutely formidable military fortress.
You know, its strategic importance was recognized really early on. It was even immortalized in the famous 11th century Bayeux tapestry. This scene here actually shows Norman knights being rescued from the treacherous quicksand in the tidal flats all around the mount.
So when you put it all together, the tide, the quicksand, and the man-made walls, the place was basically impregnable. A tiny garrison managed to fight off a full-scale English assault, which cemented its status as this powerful symbol of French resistance.
After centuries of glory as a center of faith and a military powerhouse, the Mount's purpose was about to take a really dark and dramatic turn.
With the monks gone after the French Revolution, the new government saw a different use for this isolated fortress. It became a jail, mostly for political and clerical opponents of the regime. It became a place of total isolation and despair, far, far from the rest of the world.
By the mid-1800s, the whole structure was falling apart. But influential people, like the author Victor Hugo, were captivated by it. They didn't see a prison. They saw a national treasure being lost to decay. Their passionate campaign to restore its dignity is what eventually led to the prison's closure and the beginning of a long, painstaking restoration.
So, just as Mont-Saint-Michel was being saved from human neglect, a brand new existential threat popped up. And this time, the danger wasn't coming from the sea, but from the land itself.
It sounds impossible, right? But the very thing that made Mont-Saint-Michel special, the fact that it's an island, was vanishing. And ironically, a well-intentioned effort to make it more accessible for visitors was slowly killing its very nature.
This was the culprit. Back in 1879, a raised causeway was built to give visitors permanent dry access. But it acted like a dam. It stopped the natural scouring motion of the tides, and it trapped centuries of sediment. Salt marshes started creeping closer and closer, threatening to swallow the island into the coastline for good.
So to fix this, an incredibly ambitious modern engineering project was launched, a €200 million plan to save Mont-Saint-Michel from basically drowning in sand.
The plan was pretty complex. It had 3 major steps. First, get rid of the old, damaging causeway completely. Second, build a new hydraulic dam on the nearby river to control the water flow. And third, construct a light, elegant bridge that would let the tide flow freely underneath. And here's the result, which was finished in 2014. It's a system that works in harmony with nature.
The dam releases water at just the right times, and that, combined with the tides, flushes the sediment out to sea, making sure that Mont-Saint-Michel remains a true island.
So reborn as an island and preserved for the future, its influence continues to stretch way beyond the shores of France, capturing the imagination of millions all over the world.
It's officially recognized by UNESCO as a site of outstanding universal value, and today it attracts over 3 million visitors a year, making it one of the most beloved landmarks in all of France. And what's really cool is how its incredible, almost unreal silhouette has directly inspired some of the most famous fantasy locations we all know. Peter Jackson modeled the White City of Minas Tirith on it for The Lord of the Rings. It was the basis for the Kingdom of Corona in Disney's Tangled, and it's appeared in countless video games.
From a divine vision in the 8th century all the way to a modern marvel of preservation in the 21st, Mont-Saint-Michel is just this enduring symbol of faith, ingenuity, and resilience. It's a place that tells a 1,000-year story of the delicate dance between humanity and nature.
This is a place that has constantly had to adapt to survive against sieges, political chaos, and the slow, relentless movement of sand and sea. It just makes you wonder, what future challenges and transformations are waiting for this timeless island?